Boys, I'm back. And while the king has been gone, much has transpired. But don't worry, I am here to break it all down for you and offer comment on it. The Kyle Rittenhouse trial, our first female president for 45 minutes, that I also lost 20 bucks on. And on top of it all, a federal judge blocking the release of Pfizer documents for 55 years. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack this week. And that's just within the past week. But yeah, today I wanted to start out with something a little less explosive and show you guys what I'm going to be working on over the probably the next coming forever. This is going to take a pretty long time, but you guys have seen a lot of airsoft guns on my channel, from my M4 to my shotty. Yeah, there's been a lot on my channel. But I don't actually think I've ever shown a real gun on my channel, but that all changes today because I have got this thing. Now everybody's probably like, JP, what the hell is that? That's a great question because this is a gun, a real gun chambered in 30-06 that is probably well over 100 years old. That's right. This, what I'm holding right here, is probably older than your grandparents. How do I know that? Well, let me get the flashlight on my phone and show this up to the camera. I'm not sure how well it's going to catch that, but right in here, there is a serial number, and it's probably not even showing on the computer, but that's fine. There is a serial number and engravings on this part of the rifle, which you guys will see documented in my channel. And over the coming, again, forever, a buddy of mine and I are going to be working on this rifle, getting all of the rust off, fixing all of the things that are wrong with this gun, making a completely new stock for it. We're just going to put this rifle back together. And even if I can't salvage this rifle, I'm going to take pieces out of it that I can salvage, and I'm going to build a completely new rifle out of it. Now, I still haven't told you what this rifle originally was. Well, the answer to that is a 1903 Springfield bolt-action rifle. And to put that in perspective, this is the barrel, obviously. This is the entire, well, the gun essentially. But what's missing here is the stock. The stock would, of course, cover this and go all the way back here to form my shoulder. And my computer doesn't actually have the capability to get the entire thing in frame. I would be holding the gun like this, and the barrel's all the way out there. So this was an incredibly long gun at one point. Now, why isn't it anymore? So that's where the history of this gun comes in, and it's actually the story behind why I have it and why I want to restore it. So my grandfather found this gun in the ruins of a fire about 50 years ago. He's had this thing ever since, and it's just been collecting dust in his house. Now, eventually, I just said, "Hey, Grandpa, what are you doing with this rifle? It's just sitting here." And he said, "Well, I was thinking about selling it to a local, like, scrap dealer." And then I took a look at what the rifle actually was, and I realized this thing is a piece of history. I mean, this thing may have fought in World War I, and there's a chance that the surplus of these did hit the beach with the troops in Normandy and see combat in Normandy. And there's a chance that this rifle is one of those models that made it into combat over there. I'm not saying it is. In fact, chances are slim that it is. But there is a possibility that that's what this rifle is, and I'd hate to see it rot away in a junk pile somewhere, which is essentially what it's been doing for the past 50 years. So, my upcoming project, along with my friend who you'll meet on this channel shortly, his name is Alex, we are going to do our damnedest to restore this rifle back to a firing condition. Now, of course, you can see that's an uphill battle, but I want to take some time to point out exactly what needs to get fixed on this rifle. So first of all, biggest thing is the bolt is completely seized up. It rattles a little bit, but that's just because the lower receiver and the internal magazine are jingling, which is not a positive sign because it means the screws are rusted. Now, of course, everything on this thing is rusted, but the bolt and the trunnions seem to be intact. And if those are intact, I can save the gun because that's really all you need. Springfields are one of the most produced bolt action rifles in existence, especially in their 30-06 variant, which was the original. So uh, even if those are the only pieces I can save from the rifle as is right now, I can still put a new one together. It's going to cost me an arm and a leg to do it, but I think it's worth it for this piece of history. So another thing that's morbidly worrying me about this rifle is the fact that there's pieces of metal actually chipping off in certain places, and I don't know how well the camera can pick that up because it's my school camera and it's crappy, and I need a new one. But there are pieces of metal flaking off on this rifle, which means the window of restoring this rifle is actually closing as we speak. Um, it's well over 100 years old, as I've stated already, and it's been rusting for about half its life. So, uh, if there was ever a time to fix her up and make her lethal again, now's the time because come 20 years down the road, she's not going to be restorable. So, another huge thing is the fact that the barrel, and the camera doesn't pick it up too well, the barrel is actually warped. And there's two ways of fixing that. There is heating it up and reforging it, which I need a very talented blacksmith for, because that art has been sadly lost to time, or get a completely new one. And to be honest, that's going to be about half the cost of repairing this rifle, is the barrel. I have done quite a bit of research, and so has my buddy. And from what we can deduce, these barrels are not easy to come by um, in their original GI state, nor are they produced much anymore. And they're very limited. I mean, there are modern barrels for them, but I don't want to slap some new modern barrel on it. I want to slap a new version of what it would have originally had on it. Now, of course, to save all of this and to even get started, we're going to need to take substantial amounts of rust off and DCs a bunch of metal, which is going to require a lot of rust removing treatments, a lot of WD-40, and to be frank, a lot of prayers and luck. So I would appreciate if you guys could pray for this thing. And there are other pieces on this rifle which I think might be salvageable. The sight block, which is up here, the irons down on the end of the barrel are gone, but this sight block seems like it might be salvageable. There may be pieces that I need to restore, like the adjustment levers, I think are pretty much shot, but those are actually easy to come by for some reason. And then the safety, which is this switch right here, which would flip to either side. This one, I believe, is fire. The other side is safe. This, I'm pretty sure, is toast. And that's going to need to get replaced. The hammer, well, I can't really tell until I put it through substantial rust removing treatments, but I have serious doubts as to the condition of the firing pin, which is inside that and is what actually hits the bullet fire it. So that's probably going to need to get replaced. The internal magazine, uh, again, it's jingling, so that doesn't give me a lot of confidence that the spring held up. But the follower is actually just a solid sheet of metal. That I think should be fine. And then the lower receiver itself is just one whole chunk of metal. That, from what I can see, is intact. So that is I think that's salvageable as well. So there's going to be quite a lot of work put into this rifle over the coming probably years. I'm not going to say that this is going to be a 2 month long project like you see on YouTube or restoring rusted guns. No, I don't have the capability or money to do that. So this is going to be something that we work on periodically when we have the time and when we have the money, which isn't going to be often, at least for the first few months that we're working on it. But you know what? Alex and I are committed to seeing this rifle restored back to its former glory. And to be honest, if she is a veteran rifle, she more than deserves it. Especially since she's been sitting around rusting for 50 years with nobody to care for her. So, this bad girl is my new project. And I wanted to share this with all of you guys before we get started with the rest of the trash this week. Because I think it's really awesome to think that, you know, what if this rifle fought on D-Day? What if this rifle hit the beaches of Normandy with American or British troops, and it was used to shoot at the Nazis in the bunkers? Or what if this was in the trenches of Verdun or the Argonne? Which, there's a chance this may be. We pulled a serial number off of it, and my buddy Alex is running it right now with his contacts with the police. Unfortunately, we may have to turn to the ATF to track the serial number down because, to be honest, there may be no other way of finding the serial number or corresponding the serial number with Army records, considering that Army records from that far back are probably in a file somewhere and not digitized. Uh, so, regardless of what happens with it once it's restored, we're gonna find out where it served because it is a service rifle. It says U.S. Army on it. It was a service rifle. We're going to find out where it served and in what capacity, and we're going to try our hardest to build it back up to firing condition. Like I said before, it's going to take a long time, and I'm going to be upfront about that. I mean, this thing, I'm going to say at the very least, probably a 5-year project. It's going to take time, and it's going to take a lot of money. Uh, to be honest, rebuilding this rifle would probably be about twice as expensive as building a new one from scratch. It's not going to be cheap. It's going to take a while, but in the end, I think it's going to be worth it considering the history behind this gun. But that's all I wanted to share with you guys for this video, and expect more coming throughout the week. And thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Stay armed and stay safe, Patriots.